How are you?
I'm good. I'm very, very good.
This is great.
Start of winter, but you know.
It fucking is. The weekend was nice, and now
And
it's
now
bullshit.
it's gone. Yeah.
Did you? I don't know if you saw the sinkhole across the road.
No, I didn't see anything out there. It's pitch black out there tonight.
Right, there is a giant sinkhole about 12 to 15 meters across, 5 meters deep. That just
way.
fucking just across the road.
And that
Nuts.
like in the last couple of days.
Like yesterday.
Oh.
Like last night, yeah. Yesterday
Oh my
afternoon,
God.
actually. Cheers.
So cheers. Cheers to the sinkhole. Bit of excitement.
How was your show this afternoon?
nice.
Was it? Good, I'm looking forward to it.
Fruity. It was good. It's getting to that point where we've actually done 2 radio shows for 3WBC, community radio, for the last. So every month that there's a 5th Thursday in, we get to do 2 shows. So we do the show on the 4th of the week 4, and then we do an extra on the week 5. So I'm kind of sick of the sound of my own voice at the moment because, when
right.
you just have that thing of you constantly talking, you're constantly, having a chat and trying to get your jokes out and doing all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
And and listening back to it on air, I sort of went, phew,
Do you find that tough?
I think I'm done. No, I really, really enjoy it.
Okay.
I really enjoy it. And but I think that's the thing. By the end of it, I've had enough.
Yeah. I've always found that really strange, actually, how I don't know whether it's bullshit, when actors or whatever go, oh, I can't watch myself. Why? Like, what do you like? I'm not in this to watch myself, but
Yeah.
if I've been a part of something that I'm really proud of, I want to see it. Like, and
Yeah.
I'm stoked to see it and watch it. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of the time is if you feel the same way, that you think something's happening in your head, and you think that that's what's coming across, that's what you're portraying. And I think when you see yourself back, that sometimes it's not what you think you're portraying. If you know what I mean?
Sure. Which can go 2 ways, right? When you think you were your plan didn't come off and something else happened and you question it, and then you see it and you go, oh shit. That, like, inside the edit now with the music and everyone else's reactions compounding that action, that looks great. Yeah, cool. All right.
Yeah.
I see what he was trying to do there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think they're the moments when you're completely immersed in it and you're not thinking about it. That's the magic. That's when it all happens and it's all
that is
great.
the best. I'm the worst at, like, what happened to me is, because I'm sure I've said this on here before, so I won't go into too much detail because it'd be fucking boring, but because it took me so long, I talked about this on Last Actor, but I'll just say this very quickly. Because it took me so long to become an actor and I procrastinated about it for so long. I wanted to do it from when I was 6 and I didn't start till I was about 33.
Your Jesus years, your turning point.
Yeah. I just thought that because I was so proud of myself for doing it, that everything I watched, I was like, nailed it. Awesome.
Yeah, awesome.
Yeah.
And so why did it take you so long? Why did it take all those years to get you started into acting?
Just, a lack of self-belief and self-worth and what have you. I was acting when I was young and I was loving it, and then I changed schools and I was bullied for being creative, and it took me a long time to rewrite that program in my brain. But let's, just so for everyone's listening, let's I know you through Anthony. You're Anthony's wife.
Yes, I'm Mrs. Sharpe.
You're Mrs. Sharpe. And you have been in the game doing a number of different things for
30 years.
30
over
years.
30 years.
Yeah.
I'm very fortunate to be able to say that I have been employed in the industry for over 30 years. It's incredible.
Right, that
because
is
there's
insane.
not much talent there. But
There's plenty. I've seen you. Yeah.
I dragged you along. But yeah, you know what I mean? Like I don't specialise in one thing. I'm not a dancer, not a trained dancer. I'm not a singer.
But you can do both.
By any means. I'm a sing-alonger. My love was comedy. I loved comedy. But I just wasn't – I thought I was hysterical. But but when I got to drama school, I found out that I wasn't very funny at all. And the things that I tried to make comedy, that was my first taste of Julie's attempt at comedy here was just
isn't that the worst?
And I was just like, it's killing me.
Oh, man.
And then so my drama school days, I absolutely hated. I thought it was the biggest load of wank.
Study here?
I studied in Wagga Wagga.
Oh, did you?
Yes.
Yeah, right.
I studied in Wagga Wagga, Charles Sturt University, but it used to be an agricultural college.
Right.
So I think we got there the second year that they opened the arts section. So we were known as the arty fucks, basically. And so we didn't fit in at all because these are the farmers' kids. They're all studying agriculture. They didn't understand that all of a sudden there's artistic-looking people showing up at their school with coloured hair and, loud tights and T-shirts and all that sort of stuff. And
bit of a Priscilla Queen of the Desert moment.
Yeah, exactly. And they didn't like it. So we were kind of ostracised anyway. And but I just found, I didn't want to climb up to the rock and pretend to be reborn. Me and my friend would go
all of
and
that
have
shit,
a cigarette.
man, honestly.
I've never tried cigarettes before.
Yeah.
So I didn't enjoy it. Didn't enjoy it at all. And then, I started to start failing subjects because I just wasn't digging it, you know.
Yeah.
Wasn't digging it at all. And but then afterwards, I didn't know what to do. And the lady that I was living with, Betty Keane, good old Betty, she was awesome. But she was my boyfriend's mother at the time. But it ended up that me and her had a better relationship than me and my boyfriend.
Right.
And after I finished college, she was sort of like, well, you've had your fun now.
Oh, fuck.
Now it's time to
get out of my face right now.
Yeah, go and get a job and,
I got that chat at 34.
Did you? That's it. You got to start.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it destroyed me. And I remember crying. Like we'd go out and get drunk and I'd always end up in tears going, I don't know what to do. And I went to a hairdresser's. So I'm 19 years old and I went into a hairdresser's and went, well, I might as well learn a trade.
Fuck.
Be a hairdresser because at least it's creative to some extent. And I walked in and they basically told me that I was too old to start at 19.
Oh, fuck.
So I remember just completely vaguing out and just wandering around for a couple of days, just vagued. And then we decided to go to Queensland for a holiday, my boyfriend and his friend. And
can I just quickly ask you, what are your parents saying at this point? That was they're
just like whatever you want to do.
Right. Oh, okay. That's pretty awesome.
You be who you are because that is who you are. You do what you want to do. There to support me completely.
That's great.
That was incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it was your friend
else
who derailed you.
Yeah. And so we got to Queensland and again, I'm hanging out with country boys because we're all from the country. And I found this flyer on our car that was a invitation to come to Dracula's theatre restaurant.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, this looks awesome. We should do this, guys. And they're like, I don't want to go to
to just go and eat and check it out type thing.
Yeah. So I rang them up and I said, how much is a ticket? And they was like, it's $30 each. And I was like, oh my God, that's so expensive. $30 to go and have dinner and a show, But I talked these guys into coming along with me because I really wanted to see it because I loved horror and I loved the comedy and all that sort of stuff. So I just wanted to see something a bit kooky. And that, everyone, was the start of it all.
Right.
That I walked in and I was home.
Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
wow. That's awesome. And you got a job there?
Well, I was so blown away by it because it was just so kooky. It was so ridiculous. It was so much fun. I just, everything about it I loved. The waiters were all in character and they were all horror things, but they were abusing you and they were, they were hysterical. So sometimes the waiters were more entertaining than the show, in some circumstances. And but I remember meeting the owner, Mark, Mark Newman, and he was this incredible stand-up comedian, and he looked like a Frankenstein sort of guy, but very cool, very handsome, bit of a spunk.
Right.
And so straight away I was just like,
howdy.
Oh my God, hello. And I said to him, oh my God, how do you get a job here? And he said, he goes, well, as you can guess, it's pretty popular. He said, there's like a 6-month waiting list just to become a waiter here.
Right.
He said, but we do have one that's opened up in Melbourne.
Oh, sorry. Okay. You're
so this
still...
is in Queensland. And I went, well, I might have to go to Melbourne then. So
Shit.
I did. We got home after that holiday and I packed my bags and I said, see you later, everyone. I'm going to Melbourne.
With the fella came with you?
No.
Nah. See you, dude.
And I went and stayed with a girlfriend who I met at university. She put me up for 2 weeks, and the third day I was here, got a job at Dracula's.
Wow.
Yeah.
And
And
you were
the
there
rest is history again.
Yeah, you were there for a bit too, right?
For 20 years, yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah, 20 years. But started off as casual waitress.
Yeah.
Got the job as the head waitress. And when you're the head waitress, you get to do the backstage stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that was awesome.
Awesome.
Getting
Yep.
to be that. Then being the backstage person, you get to do little cameos on stage because you might have to fill in for a few things here and there or be a character in a helmet or, monster outfit or something like that. So you're getting these little bits of stage time as well. And then I got to be in the show one year. One of the girls left that was in the cast and it was sort of a bit abrupt. So they just went,
Right. It's always, it's like
you
that,
go,
isn't it?
I
Out
know
of
that
necessity.
you want to,
People
you
get
want to
their
be
breaks.
a part of it. So
Yeah.
in you go. And
Sorry, had you finished your drama training?
yes.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
I was only 2 years, yeah.
You had some techniques and
Yeah, but nothing compared to what I was about to be thrown
Because
into.
I'm wondering how steep of a dive
Yeah,
was
it was fully. For my audition, I had to sing Happy Birthday in front of Tiki and John, who are very well known. They were like the pioneers of theatre restaurant in the 1960s. So they started up a little bar in Exhibition Street that because they were doing the big musicals like South Pacific and all that sort of stuff, and they never had anywhere to go to afterwards when they'd finished their
Right.
shows. So they went,
Oh, okay.
why don't we start up our own
Here's a
little
niche.
bar so all the crew can end up there? And so they did. They just had this little bar to hang out with. But then, of course, all the actors and entertainers are going there. So people started performing.
Yes.
And then they sort of went, okay, let's get this in motion. Let's get the restaurant happening. Let's get the shows happening. And that was people like Ernie Bourne and Maury Fields and all those sorts of people, being involved in that. So
Right.
big wigs. Oh, need a drink.
And when you were there, you make that transition as you go along through the ranks, because I mean, we obviously know each other a little bit, but we have never actually. This is probably the longest that we've sat down and had a conversation. So it's one of the reasons I wanted you to sit down, because I'm so fascinated by your journey, because Sharpie showed me one of your stand-up like your reels once where you and I thought and I just like I'm always so in awe of that ability to do it. And what I'm always more fascinated with, or just as equally fascinated with, is how and why, and the transition of going, I reckon I'm because I've seen you now on stage, and I saw a couple of wild cards come flying at you, and you've been doing it for years now, so you've probably got a bank of things ready to go. But that speed is always, I'm like, man, I'd be stumped if I can. Can we cut? Can I get a pick up?
You know what it is, and I think that's why with comedians that you see a lot of on TV end up being like Captain Obvious, because they've got to keep coming up with so much material all the time, like every time they're on TV. And once it's on TV, it's gone, But what was the beauty of that was that you had a massive store of gags and one-liners and things like that. But it was also trial and error. Like something would happen that's never happened before, but it's a golden moment. So it goes, all right, tuck that one away as well.
Right.
You know, so you have this massive store of all this incredible gold. And but yeah, the moments that you absolutely cherish is when you are challenged, because sometimes, you know, we were doing like 7 nights a week around Christmas time, and you start going, can't do this again,
right,
kind of thing. But we were so fortunate in the fact that we had freedom. We weren't doing a Disney musical or something like that where it has to be to the absolute minuscule, you know, stick a pinky up there and it has to stay there every single time you perform it. We had as much freedom
a lot of levity, sort of, yeah. And that'd be a great way for you to work out just your brand too, right? Because I imagine one of the things that you're also having to be really somewhat conscious of is what's working and very conscious of what's working and what isn't.
Yeah.
And that would sort of just, if you had that kind of freedom, would naturally come about, right? And are you, are you going and like writing jokes and stuff like that? Or
things would just come out.
Right.
And again, that's what I mean. It was turning off the filter. It got to the point where the character that I did was a character called Sara Pax, which was actually a sort of a passed on character because it was so popular. So Haidee, who was the daughter of Tiki and John, she started off doing this Sara Pax character, and she was always the sidekick to Mark Newman and that sort of thing. So she was always just like a little piece role. But then it got to the point where she would start doing her own stand-up. And so this was like, you know, that was like, oh my God, imagine if you ever got to be Sara Pax. That would be the best thing ever. And I think I was number 4 down the years. But I did end up doing Sara Pax for 14 years. So
that's got to be up there, right?
Yeah.
For a
so I think
run.
I sort of got to do it the longest and really made it different as well. Like it was that thing of I can't copy what.
No, you've got to make it your own.
Had to make it my own. So Sara Pax, as you know, is a housewife's drug, a Valium.
Okay.
So it's called. So the character was Sara Pax, SaraPax, but the drug is Sara, SERA Pax.
Oh, right.
Sara Pax. And so this was the housewife's feel-good drug.
Okay.
And so that was the whole idea of the character. She was in a hospital gown with all the, you know, feel-good drugs sort of pinned to a gown and stuff like that, and, you know, dead-looking makeup and things like that, dreadies, all this sort of stuff. So she's a big dope smoker and you name it, whatever drugs out there, she's done it sort of thing. And so when I took it over, it was too down for me, like very funny, but the energy of it was too down.
Right.
Because I'm a bit manic.
Right, yeah.
And
so you had to up it.
So we twisted it to be more of a sort of techno kind of 90s, because that's when I started. So it ended up being that kind of ADD sort of
Ebenezer
hyper.
good.
Yeah. That sort of character. So and that worked for me. And it was just that release of, she was such a stupid but innocent character that you could get away with anything.
Right.
Get away with absolute murder. You could, like you're telling people their physical flaws in front of them, but then you do it with a nicety and I'm just playing here with you. It's nothing personal, you know, it's all that sort of stuff, because you don't want to hurt someone. I hurt this one girl, she was 17 and she had the biggest boobs I'd ever seen. They were out.
Was she a big girl or she was little?
She was a big girl.
Yeah.
But the boobs were huge. And I just did that, you know, I didn't see them all night. And then I just went, whoa. And, you know, I had a video camera following me.
Right.
So the video camera goes boom on these boobs. And like I said, they were out there. She was obviously loved them.
Yeah.
And I did a joke like, my God, you could breastfeed China with those things. Something like that. And I just saw her face drop. And I just went, oh, no.
This is that dreaded moment
That's
that I
that
hoped would
moment.
never come.
That was it. And I felt like I just killed her soul a little bit. And I was just like.
And what did you do?
Well, it's just that thing of, always, hold their hand and give them a squeeze or,
But the show
something
must
like
go
that.
on too, right?
Yeah. Sorry, but you had your boobs out and it was really funny.
Yeah, I'm a comedian. What do you expect?
I've got to go with what I say. So I did sort of from then on in sort of go, right, I really got to look at the person first and see, like, don't pick on a 17-year-old girl. Yeah, that sort of thing.
Did I tell you? I think I did, but okay, so stop me if I'm telling you a story I've already told you, but did I tell you about my interaction with Pan Am? I did. Oh, yeah.
Yes, you did.
And that was almost a break moment. Like I'll just quickly recap so everyone knows what the fuck I'm talking about. So when I first moved to London back in 2001, my brother, who's gay, and his boyfriend took me to a gay bar, a gay pub, like 2 PM or something. And the Australian comedian Pan Am was there. And she zeroed in on me within seconds. And she came and she took my backpack and she started grilling me about where I was from because she's obviously an Aussie. And I was like, Perth. She's hanging shit on the city. That's fine. And then she starts to go through my backpack and I'm staying with my brother. I've been in London for like a day and I'm super, 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 super shy at that point. I've lost all the sort of out there shit that I used to have when I was like 10, 11, 12. And I'm just like, fucking, oh God. And also because I'm terrified of the ability that you guys have to be out there and doing this thing that I think would just break me if I had to do. And she goes through my things and she's pulling out my undies and my clothes and she's doing all this and there's like 300 gay men screaming and she does some more jokes, whatever. She gives me back the backpack and she walks off and I'm like, whew. I look at my brother, I'm like, thank God that's over. And then she turns around and she comes back and she grabs me and she goes, you're coming with me. She puts me out the back. And I am fucking sweating bullets, dude. And her like a little assistant comes over and I'm like, can I go? I don't want to do this. I don't want to. She's like, you're going on, dude. You know, like you got no choice. Yeah. And she comes back and she puts this fucking orange plastic, like Bo Peep's not the right word, but wig on with a green dress.
Wings,
with a green dress and like an apron or something. And she drags me out there and I'm like a fucking flight attendant.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm having to go down a pretend staircase and push a pretend trolley, open drinks and give them to the boys and they're fucking woo, woo. Yes. And I can't remember all the jokes that came out.
Because you're the best person for that job because you're the one who is scared shitless, so you're going to do what she asks.
Right.
Because the worst thing is getting someone out of the audience and they try and upstage you and block you and it's just like, you really have to work for your money in that circumstance.
It's so interesting that you say that because years later, not that many years later, maybe 4 years later, I was in not the same situation, but one similar. I was on a cruise ship that had singers and what have you, and it was lunch and we had some booze and whatever. And one of my biggest fears still to this day, and I'm working on it slowly but surely, is singing.
Yeah.
And singing in front of people. I used to sing when I was younger, but anyways. And they're going around the table and they're singing or whatever, and he comes up to me with the mic, like to fill in the words. And he's like, ba 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 ba, whatever it was, hands it to me and I go, fuck off. Like this. A total prick. I felt so bad. And he's like, anyways, like this. and I went up to him after I was like, I'm so bad, man. And I should have thought to blame Pan Am at that point. And he's like, it's cool, man, it happens. So I was like, God, that's such a dick thing to say. But it was like so reactionary. I was like, there's no fucking way that I'm going to sing right now.
That's the best.
And yet secretly I'm super jealous of anyone who's got that ability to just not give a shit like that and get up there and do it.
Yeah. Well, we used to do everything at Drax from the start to the end. You were on. So we would start and you had designated jobs when the doors opened. So, you'd be in the ghost train as a scarer, or you'd be loading people, or you'd be getting people off, which was Sharpie's favourite job. Or then you
guys met there, right?
Yeah. It's very incestuous. And you would seat people and you do all this. And we also had to do the photographs. So we'd take people's photographs and get, groups of people up on stage and get characters in and, do couples and all that sort of stuff. And so I was the photographer. So I'm in my Sara Pax outfit, which at this stage is the techno stuff. So it's a big baggy reflector shorts and all this sort of stuff.
You're going to say something reflective.
Big long dreadies, all this sort of stuff. And I have to stand on, people's seats to take it. And so I'm taking this one photo on the stage and I go 1, 2, someone's dacked me.
Oh.
Like pants to the floor. And because we do the show, I only had a flesh-coloured G-string on. And so it just went, okay, took the picture, stood there for a minute, looked around, and these two, it was a couple, and the guy just went, I'm so sorry.
Did he do it or did his missus do it?
He did it.
Oh, and then he went.
But he just realised
regretted
it looked like I had no undies on.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So I bent down. So my ass is hanging out right to the back. I bent down, pulled my shorts up,
just
slowly onto the next one. But yeah, again.
And did you give him a fucking massive spray afterwards?
No. Again, it was something that he did. He regretted it. He was the same as you.
At the end. Away.
At the end, he was like, "I'm so sorry, I did that." And it's like, it's fine, because it ended up being a comedy moment for everyone around. Yeah. So again, it's you just go with what's given.
You got to keep rolling. It's like hecklers, hey. Like there's so many great videos of comedians, and I think they're so in it and they're doing their thing, and then some fuckhead starts spraying shit from the back.
Yeah.
And some of the burns, I mean, who do you think you are? What made you think that you were going to be able to get one up on a trained pro who's got a million
but
ready to...
But the worst thing is that you don't know what they're saying.
Right.
You can't hear what they're saying.
Okay,
All you hear is... and you go... Like, it does. It snaps you out of the moment. And it's like, what was that? And then they do it again. And it's like...
Yeah.
So you've got to go with what you can make out that it is. But we had this one guy who he just did not stop heckling throughout. We used to do a thing called pre-show where we were sort of introducing the characters, and you had a menu that you would talk about. So it was a comedy routine, so talking about all the food and stuff like that. And this guy just kept going, bleh! And I got to a point where I'm talking about the chef. And it was all this stuff, you don't want to meet this chef. This chef's and he's going, ugh. And I said, oh, you do want to meet this chef. And I grabbed this guy, and we had a door out the side. And I said, the kitchen's right through here, so you can go in and meet the chef. So he goes through the door, and the door goes right out onto the street. Close the door, and he's gone. But then I found out that he's mentally disabled.
Oh, no.
And
he really just was having an episode.
He was just interacting.
Oh God.
With the show, and so I had to get
your moment to feel real bad.
I know. I had to get his brother to go out the front door and go and grab him because he was out on the street.
Oh shit.
But yeah, these are the moments you think you're doing the right thing and you're just not.
Fucking hell. I saw whatever, a video on YouTube, and normally like, either the comedian has got a great comeback and just dismantles the person, or they get a little snooty and just tell them to fuck off. But there's one great video of Joe Rogan actually in one of his specials, and some idiot is yabbering on, and to sort of condense what he said like across 3 minutes of back and forth is he just basically stopped everything, and he was just like, everyone, look at this guy. You realize you're fucking this up for everyone else here, you dummy. And then he's like, get rid of him.
Yeah.
And they just fucking turfed him. And it was so good. Instead of like back and forth or whatever, I think he sort of got him to, well, if you're going to fuck it up for everyone, have you got anything actually to say? And it was some nonsense. And he was like, oh, God, get rid of him.
Yeah.
So it was so good the way that he just, like, it's one thing to get burned with a bit of comedy, but it's another thing to stop the show and have all eyes on you and to dissect what is actually happening right now. What's happening right now is the world, because this is on YouTube, by the way, everyone's filming this dude, thinks you're an asshole.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
And I thought that was really, really great. So when you're doing a 20-year residency at refresh my memory again. Dracula's. There's a place that keeps popping into my mind when I lived in Scotland called Frankenstein's.
Yeah, but that's a bar, isn't it? That's a bar and restaurant.
Yeah, and they have this like the toilets are behind the bookcase, and
it's so
you've
cool.
been because you did the Fringe, right? Or
no. We my family's from Scotland.
I get out.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's on Frederick Street.
So we went
on
a world tour of people that we know. And ended up in Scotland and we went to the house in Bonnyrigg where my grandmother was born.
Oh, wow.
So the family still lives in the house where Grandma was born.
Fuck out.
And, so we went and hung out there and it was so funny because I think, how old were we? We must have been like 25 and felt like we were 16-year-old kids because we had to be driven places and picked up.
Oh, is she in the West? Bonnyrigg in the West, like Glasgow way?
I can't remember. But
it was rough, obviously.
No, it wasn't rough, but it was out.
Oh, okay.
It was way out.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
So, we go on a ghost tour.
Oh,
and
did you do the dungeons and everything when you were in Edinburgh?
Well, there wasn't much choice when we were there. So we did this one that, went around the mile and and into the tombs and stuff in the cemetery, and it was awesome. And the girl was like,
they get quite into it too. Yeah,
she was in this cape and she was and absolutely scared the bejesus out of me. And that went onto the list. Have to be a tour guide.
Mid-90s would that have been when you were there?
Mid-90s. When
I
was
moved
that?
there in 2001 and they were still running that.
95, I think that was.
Okay, wow. Yeah. I lived there for 2 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Cold.
Yeah, bullshit cold. Yeah.
We were there in spring and it was like, oh, it's the coldest I've ever been.
Yeah. I lived there for 2 years and I think I had, like in the summer, there was some okay warm days, but the vast majority of it was fucking freezing cold. So you're doing that, but what else is happening? What was the stand-up stuff that I saw? Was that there?
That was there. That was the character Sara Pax. So it's interesting because in the peak of Sara Pax, I went, this is it. I just want to be a stand-up comic. This is it. This is so much fun. I love it. And so I went out and did a couple of stand-up comedy nights and then got to do the Espie.
Which is?
The Esplanade in St Kilda. So that was a big comedy afternoon on Sundays. And I remember this was the first time that I'd sat down with a friend and we'd actually written comedy together. And I remember my name being called. Here she is, Julie Herridge. Ah! And I walked out and the microphone looked like it was huge in this, spotlight. And I just remember going, oh my God.
Fuck.
Oh my God, because I was doing material that I wasn't really sure of.
Okay. But that's
Wasn't
part
my-
of it, right?
yeah.
You got to test.
Exactly. And
Yeah.
It wasn't my kind of shtick like I did. I
Why
just
wasn't
wanted
it?
Well, because I had to do a stand up and I couldn't use any Dracula stuff.
Okay,
You
okay.
know,
Yeah,
because
it had
it's
to be
in the
all
show
original.
there and all that
Yeah.
sort of stuff. And I didn't want to go down into the crowd because then I'm doing what I've been doing sort of thing. So I just sort of did it and sort of went, oh,
You bombed.
yeah, it was like I got some giggles, got
Yeah.
some sympathy laughs, I think. And then a couple of years later, I went to the Comedy Fest Gala. And
Are
there
you
was
still doing bits?
still doing Draculas?
Oh, no, but are you still doing stand-ups in between these few years?
No.
Oh, okay.
No,
right.
no.
That was enough.
No, the SB broke me.
Oh.
And I went to the Comedy Festival Gala and was sitting there with some friends, and this girl came out who was quite well known, quite a well known comedian around that time. So this is early, say mid 90s, going into the late 90s, and she did my stand up.
What?
Yeah. So it started off and I went, oh, that's funny. That's a coincidence. But then it went to the next, because I had, a few things that I sort of talked about, and she just sort of ticked them off.
This is years later.
And I went, this is a bit weird. This is crazy.
Yeah.
And then
Was it working?
She tweaked it.
Right.
So yeah, it's working for her, and she had a name already. So
Okay.
So it was fine. And so I was telling someone about this a couple of years ago, and they said, yeah, that was what would happen was if you go to the SB and you're an unknown,
You get robbed.
the people who were doing all the gigs would pick material because they know that you're not going to come back.
Oh, my fucking God.
And, and I was like, well, fair enough then.
Son of a
Fair
bitch.
enough,
Well,
yeah.
it's kind of, I guess the only way you can spin it is it's somewhat flattering that they took your material.
And worked it. Yeah. So and I think that's the thing was when I first started to discover that the character that I was doing at Drax, like I said, I could get away with anything, and I had such confidence in that character that I would just do anything with it and all that sort of stuff. But take that character outside of Dracula's, it doesn't make sense.
Fly.
Doesn't make sense to anyone. And people think you're racist. People think you're like all this sort of stuff because you're doing these gags. But in that environment, it's so safe. Everyone feels safe.
Okay.
And yeah, so it took me a long time after not doing Dracula's, like, going to the casino and stuff like that. It took me a long time to find out where to perform at as being me, but an extension of me and not being this goofy, kooky character.
Okay.
So that took a little while to sort of figure that out.
Because there seems to be, I couldn't even say the last time I watched stand-up where it was a character anymore. That was a thing back in the day. Now it really is just that comedian with their thoughts.
Yeah.
Yeah, the character thing is done and dusted. And interesting, like not to bring him up again, but I didn't even notice that had fucking done that.
Didn't even notice it had done that either.
Jesus Christ, how long has that been down like that? It's just going to be this 20-minute silent stretch. Fuck. What? You son of a bitch.
I didn't even see that happen.
It can't have been long because I'm
No.
sure I caught it out of my... Anyways. They were talking about Joe Rogan's brand of comedy. I'm not a huge fan of his stand-up, just probably because I just enjoy his podcast so much more. But his is very conversational comedy about real shit.
Yeah.
So it's almost like this educational talk layered and pepped with comedy. It's still comedy, and he's still a comic, and it's still stand-up, but it's not... He's not running jokes. It's big long thoughts on things.
Yeah.
Which is, I think, a more emerging kind of brand of comedy. So you said, 3 years later, you had another crack at it and you heard someone saying your jokes. Did that mean you were up on stage at that same event?
No. We just went.
So was that your like that was the one time you jumped on stage to do your own solo stand-up?
I did. Where did I go? I did. I'm just trying to think. There was three places I went. There was the Odeon, which was in the casino, which is now the one opposite where we do Prince's, which is called Co. So that was like a little cabaret style nightclub, and they used to do comedy there. I think again on Sunday evenings, afternoons, sort of thing.
Right.
So I had a crack there. That was pretty fun. And then I did. The first one I did was out at Williamstown, I think it was. There was some sort of stand-up comedy night out there, and we used to, just go. And one night someone didn't show up, I think was what happened. And so the guy who was the MC sort of went, oh, does anyone want to get up and have a crack? So I actually got up and did the stand-up from the show, naughtily. And afterwards, the guy was like, I think his name was Brad Oakes, who was he was a big guy. And so he used to always do fat gags, that sort of thing. That was his thing. He was, again, huge in the 90s.
Yeah.
And after that he was like, man, what are you doing? You've got to get out there. You've got to, get this material. So I was like, oh, it's not my material, it's, this is what I do, sort of thing. And he was like, we'll get writing and stuff. And that's where it sort of ended up that I went, okay, I'll have a crack at the Odeon and I'll have a crack at the SB. But then by the time I did the SB, I went, no, I don't enjoy being me doing comedy.
Okay.
I like being a character.
Right.
And stuff. And and it was that thing of taking that storage of gags and things that I knew and trying to make them work as Julie the MC.
Okay.
Yeah,
because I'm just about to ask you, like, if you like to be the character, when I came to see you, I mean, it felt like it was you. Is it? It's not. That's not a character, is it?
No, it's an extension of me, though.
Yeah. So, that seems like a lot. Like, to me, that's it. Like when I went and saw it, I wasn't like, whoa, this is a whole other spin. I was like, oh, I just saw you.
Yeah.
Like Sharpe.
Yeah. So that's me, my absolute, confident Wonder Woman self.
Yeah.
That's it. But take me off stage, and I'm a quiet little house mouse.
I wouldn't say that.
Wouldn't you?
Nah, not at all. I wouldn't call you quiet at all. I wouldn't say that you're loud and rambunctious, what I mean? But you're very confident, you know what I mean? Like, it's not like, hi, how are you? You'd be like, hey, what's up? To a stranger, you know what I mean? Like when I first met you, it was like, what's going on?
But I do say that is one thing that I'm very aware of, because it used to drive me insane around that scene, the Dracula scene and the comedy, people that don't switch off. Like, it just...
Yeah, I'm the same.
It's so tiring and it's just like, just
you
relax.
don't have to be like this.
Yeah. You're a funny guy,
We got you back then. Yeah. When I went to art school, it was a funny thing because I left high school early because all I ever wanted to do was be an artist of some description. There was nothing else in my mind. Oh, maybe I could be this or maybe I could be that. It was that, or I'm doing art for nothing and I've got a job to pay bills.
Yeah.
There was no ulterior career. And I went to art school, and the fucking nonsense that people used to crap on about, like at the common room and the get-ups and all that kind of stuff. Like, I'm all for genuine... individuality or but when it's premeditated and it's this fucking oh god You know, like shut up.
Yeah,
Just be real, man. You know,
exactly.
Fucking hell.
Exactly, because it is. It's tiresome, and yeah, people just want to get out of there.
Yeah.
When that's going on. It's funny when I was a kid, that was my thing. I was same as you, like 5, 6 years old, being bitten by the bug.
Yeah.
You know, I did my first school play, got some laughs, and I was like, man,
This is me.
This is awesome.
Yeah.
And then huge fan of the Muppet Show, like a little bit stalkerish.
Erica loves the Muppet Show too.
Muppet Show was just the best. And so I always had that thing in my head, if I could do anything in the world, you know, I'd be on the Muppet Show. But then I sort of went, you know, and Mum and Dad would buy me, you know, Muppets. So I'd, you know, do all the shows and stuff. But I was sort of like, nah, it's not quite it.
Right.
It's along the line, but it's not quite it. And then
warming up.
Yeah, and then I realised that's what I wanted. I wanted my own Muppet Show. I wanted that environment. I wanted that craziness. I wanted that lifestyle of that show. And, you know, be careful what you wish for, because that's what I got with Drax. And it was best 20 years of my life so far.
So why did you leave?
I had a baby.
Oh, wow. Yeah, Lucy. Yeah.
But it was getting to that. It was getting to that stage. I was, you know, getting to 40.
Yeah.
And you know, this is a place where, you know, they're telling you when you hit 30, you're too old to be on stage, you know, you're out, sort of thing. So I was very lucky to get that extra 10 years.
Which is a bunch of bullshit too.
It is a bunch of bullshit, but it's funny because we got to that stage, like, yeah, you know, I was 40 when I left, or 39 when I left. The guys seemed to go on a bit longer, but the girls, you know, had to sort of finish up early and
recalibrate.
Yeah, but then they sort of, you know, they would hire people into their mid-30s, but then in the last few years that was a thing that they decided to do, that they were not going to hire anyone over the age of 30, especially females, because knees go, like all this sort of stuff. That's the reasoning, apparently. So crazy.
And so, how much time did you take off when Lucy?
So I was full time as well. Like I was a full time person.
Yeah.
Employment, and which was awesome. And so I had a year's maternity leave, but the thing was they'd never had anyone in the show go on maternity leave before, so we're all sort of testing new ground, and then by the time we had the meeting to say, okay, you know, where's this going to go, I was sort of like, I really want to come back, but I don't think I can do 5 nights a week.
Yeah.
Again.
Yeah, it's time to rejig.
Yeah, and and they were sort of like, you know, we've got this new cast and everything. Is like, yeah. So
this is a decent stretch.
Yeah, and I thought to myself, you know what? I've had such a great time. It's time to give someone else a go at this. You know, can't be too selfish. Yeah, because it is something that everyone should experience. Yeah, that's, you know, inclined to be that way. Yeah,
and also on a not even selfish in that respect, but maybe I don't want to say selfish in a shift, but time for you to experience something new too.
Yeah, and it was getting to that point where I was starting to just repeat.
Yeah.
With the last 3 years were probably just repeat, because that's where they were at as well. They were, you know, rehashing shows from 10 years ago. So already done it. Mm-hmm. You know, it's new for someone else, but it's
not new for you.
Not new for me. And so I think that was the thing as well. And I, again, you put things out to the universe, but you don't realise it until afterwards that they do come true.
Fucking A, they do.
And I said, the only thing that's going to make me leave here is to have a baby.
And boom.
And boom, next day I was pregnant. Yeah, but
And the next day I had her.
and that's it. And the thing is, that was an incredible 20 years, but it only took 1 year for me to lose all that confidence. Like by the time
Really?
that it was having that conversation about going back, that I was like, oh my God, I don't think I
Yeah.
can. I don't know what to do. I don't have the confidence in my ability to do this anymore.
Isn't it crazy how quickly that fucking dissipates?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Especially in the seemingly in the comedy realm. Listening to stand-up comics talk about if they're not up on stage, 5 or 6 nights out of 7 working material, it only takes them a week or 2 before they feel like they're not as sharp as they should be.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think that's a false perception. I think that seemingly is the go. If you're not working, that's why Eddie Murphy's taken so long to get back on stage, because he doesn't go and work the clubs. And so he is 30 years out of touch. Although Netflix have just paid him, or they speculate something like $50 million to do 2 shows or something like that, and he's signed on. So he's been writing for the last seemingly 18 months or something. Or someone else has been writing for him. Can you imagine?
That's fantastic.
God, how does he recalibrate his thing of just hanging shit on gay people and fucking white people?
Yeah. Well, again, though,
women.
this might be the resurgence of that sort of stuff because we got so politically correct that
it's the best time for comics right now because everyone is so fucking sensitive that every joke doesn't need to be crazy before it lands and offends someone, and that's the best part about it.
Well, I watched the Chappelle one.
Oh, dude.
But see, it didn't offend because everyone's like, "Oh my God, this is it's so offensive. It's just out there." And I went,
they're so good. Yeah, and he is so aware.
He's so good.
Oh, he's the best.
He is. But I was amazed at, and fair enough, the people that were telling me that was so offensive were the under 30s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, people under 30. And they're going, oh my God, you will not believe what he says.
Babies.
And I found that maybe I just had the, the anticipation that I was going to be shocked. And so even when we went to see Book of Mormon, everyone's like, oh my God, it's so out there. You're going to be so shocked. And so me and Sharpie were like, waiting to be shocked.
I try to
and we're just like, damn it.
Yeah, the only look, there's not much that would shock me, you know what I mean? But probably the closest that I've ever been shocked or like, oh fuck, man, you better collect really quickly. I don't know what's happening right now. Is Louis C.K.'s last special, and he went on this big tangent about abortion,
right?
And everyone was like, oh, and even me, and I'm a massive Louis C.K. fan, and I don't really put too much thought into it. Like, it's comedy, right?
Right.
Even I was like, not offended, but I was like, whoa, Louis, this is a bold swing, And he totally collected and whatever. And then unfortunately his career went to the toilet for a little bit. But
yeah.
But Chris D'Elia, do you know Chris D'Elia?
I know that name, but I can't put a face to it.
Right. He's one of the hottest comedians out there probably now at the moment.
Right.
He's got a great podcast and he's got 3 specials on Netflix and he's been in a bunch of shows and all this kind of stuff. And he has a very unique, I think, brand of comedy. But he was talking about like people attacking him or whatever for saying whatever it is that he's saying in the comedic space, and he's like, hold on a sec, they're just jokes for a start, somewhat true, but mostly jokes. And also, you pay me to make these jokes.
Yes, I know who you're talking about now. Yes.
Well, shut the fuck up.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because people do. They want to have that shock factor because it's fun, it's exciting,
Yeah.
And I remember when in 95, because we did the world trip, and went to LA for the first time. Went to the Comedy Store, and so excited. But I actually saw for the first time racism on the other side. So it was
Directed back at white people.
yeah. And I was like, man, what's going on? This
Isn't
is
that strange?
crazy. Yeah. Never experienced that before in my life. And then there was a woman that came on, and she was drunk and she was bored. She was a well-known comedian at the time. She had her own TV show.
Oh, right.
I can't remember her name though. Isn't that terrible? And she was just being offensive.
Right, for the sake of it.
For the sake of it, because I don't think she wanted to be there.
Right.
She must have had
booted
to
off.
one of those
She wanted
gigs
to
that
get
she
kicked
had to be
out.
there. And she was like, I've already got my check, so I don't give a fuck kind of thing. And people were getting up and walking out, and I was just like, oh my God, this is so exciting.
Have you ever seen the footage of the guy who played Kramer?
Yes,
What's
but
his name?
that's years
Richard
ago.
or something?
I can't remember because I love him as Kramer.
He was brilliant. But then he
Just-
gets coked up to the gills on stage at the Laugh Factory
And was that
or
a
something.
racism
Dude,
thing?
it was nigger that whatever.
Wow, right.
I went to Australia, but it was just dropping N-bombs left, right, and centre, and then black people in the audience who were coming to see Kramer. Unfortunately, we're seeing this coked up
Yeah.
A-lister lose his fucking shit.
Yeah. Well, I think that happened to the guy from 30 Rock, Tracy Morgan.
Oh yeah,
That
but
happened-
he's survived.
Yes, but that happened here, I think.
Really?
Because he was at the Palms at the casino, and same thing. All the 30 Rock fans were like, oh my God, we're going to go and see this guy. And of course, when they get to see this guy, he is brash and he's
He's a total prick, isn't he?
someone I've heard. I'm not sure. But yeah, like full on stuff. And same thing, people getting up. I think people who go to the Palms just do that anyway.
Right.
It's a scene.
I'm not a huge fan of his brand, but there's a guy called Bert. I don't know how to say your last name. Bert Kreischer, another stand-up comic. Hilarious. I really like his jam. But he tells this now quite famous story about coming up in the ranks and partying with Tracy Morgan and being at a nightclub.
Is that his name or that's his character name? Tracy Morgan.
That's what everyone calls him. Like he even refers to him in the past as
Tracy Morgan.
Tracy Morgan, yeah.
Okay.
But I don't know enough about him, so I could be totally wrong.
I'm not sure.
But he, basically in a nutshell, without the long-winded story, you should check it out on YouTube because it's quite funny him telling the story, is that he would go into clubs and do the Dom Perignon thing all fucking night and, $6,000 bar tab and then start a fight with the bouncers. And there's this one thing where this huge fight went down because they wanted Bert to pay it. And he was like the white guy and it was a bunch of black guys at the table. So they thought he was like the manager. And it's like, here's the bill. He's like, I'm not fucking paying it. And so Tracy started this huge punch up and they got fucking thrown out and his shirt comes flying out the front door. And Tracy Morgan stands up and he's like, that's how you get out of paying a bill, motherfucker. Like this.
It's the best. I'm going to remember that.
And see you later. Fucking strolls on out of there.
Wow.
Just get kicked out.
Well, there are ways to do things, isn't there?
Isn't it crazy? Yeah. So, is the thing that you're the show that I came to see you at finished? Is you finishing up on that, or are you?
No. So
No.
so I've been at that one for 10 years. So I'm a bit of a stayer. I'm very loyal.
You like it? Yeah.
But that was again, that was so funny because that was the year that Lucy was born, and it was September of that year, and this guy Craig Weiss approached me, rang me up actually, and he said, I hear you're not doing Draculas anymore. Are you interested in doing another job? And inside I'm going, oh my God, I thought I'd never work again. Someone someone's asking me if I want to do a show.
Wow, you're getting hunted. Yeah.
Getting headhunted. This is awesome. So I was sort of like a narrator role throughout, and he was the character of the king. And so, but it would be things like he couldn't do a show or something one night. So one of the princes would fill in for his role. But then people were sort of like, why is one prince speaking but the rest don't? And
right.
So
there was a lack of continuity.
Yeah, so it wasn't really flowing well. And so and then we went on tour, and Craig just said, maybe you should just do the whole thing.
Yeah.
So I went, yes, at last.
It's paid off.
Yeah. And the way things are set up now, it works with having that female threaded through.
100%. Yeah, especially with the way things are. And it offers a nice lubricant for whatever the girls have to do or get up on stage. Like with the one that I saw you in, that I don't know whether it was her 21st or whether it was her hens, but she did not fucking want to be up there. And I could see her just like cursing the shit out of her mates. And whether she didn't know that she was going there that night or she suddenly had a panic attack, but I think having you in between her and the lads would have made a massive difference.
Yeah, and it does. It makes a huge difference because it's like I'm the link between them and the stage. I think
and the safety.
The safety and the it's okay. We're just having fun.
Yeah.
And nothing bad's going to happen.
Yeah, you're going to be all right. I'll look after you. Yeah.
Was it top up time?
Little top up, little tipple.
Little tipple.
Say when.
Thank you.
So I want to ask you a question. Hopefully it goes down well. So
like this wine.
Yeah. You're doing this, and you're still in it. My question is, what is it that you love about emceeing and being on stage and doing that thing? And is there something else that you'd like to do also that you haven't done? That is kind of percolating there.
This is the thing, isn't it? I find, I'm 50 now. Mm-hmm. So it's been 10 years of doing this, and I love it. And the fact that it's only once a week, like we were saying, the comedians that don't get to do it, it doesn't really, it really is a thing because it took, like I said, 5 years to get some kind of rhythm in that show by doing it once a week. It took a long time to suss it out because I'm so used to workshopping stuff every night. So to do something on a Saturday night and then you have to wait a whole week before you do it again, it was really
a long process.
Hard.
Yeah.
It was really hard to sort things out. And I find I love it, and I feel like it's me, like I'm giving my all to this show, and I love it, and I want to give more. I want to be more creative with it, and all that sort of stuff. But at the same time, I'm sort of balking at other things, and it's funny. I was talking to Maria Mercedes, who's a huge TV, film, and stage musical theatre star. We just had her on our show today, and she said, in my 20s, I would do anything at the drop of a hat. And we were having this discussion of now, it's like, oh no, don't give me something, that I have to be there tonight to sing a song because I need a month to prepare for. It's that, and I think it's that thing of, with age, you start to worry about things a bit more, and I find that I'm so fully confident in Princes, and I will do anything and go anywhere and tour that show, but give me something new now.
So there's a bit of fear.
There's a whole lot of fear. Even doing that Chain movie with Sharpe, I was absolutely shitting myself.
I really wondered about it. Because obviously I know you more now in this last hour than I've known you across the 3 years that I've known you guys now.
It's been 3 years.
Yes.
My goodness.
Isn't that fucking bananas?
That's bananas.
Yeah, middle of 2017 I met Sharpe. I mean, I probably didn't meet you maybe for 6 months or something into the friendship.
Yeah.
But I'm really, because that's what I'm so fascinated about, and that's why I wanted to talk to you about it. Like, yeah, you've got this little thing. It's not a little thing, but you're doing this thing and you do it really, really well. But it's once a week. And then I saw you in this clip, which I watched today, and I was like, fuck. And I believed you in it. You know what I mean? I didn't feel like, oh, Sharpie's just grabbed his missus and his kid in there and it's this thing that's been loosely put together. I believed all of you, 100%.
Thanks for saying that, Josh.
No. And I wouldn't, I'm, as Sharpie knows, I'm fucking crazy direct. I would have said, I think maybe you guys should stick to the stage.
Yeah.
No, not at all. So I want to know, is there, like, do you want to, wrap that thing up and be in films, or do you want to, like, do comedy somewhere on a show? What?
Again, this is the thing, and this is probably the block that I've put up in my head, is that when I was in my 20s and my 30s, I was, doing voiceovers, doing commercials.
Oh, right.
Doing bit parts on, TV, extra work, all that sort of stuff. Just saying yes to everything, and now if an opportunity comes up, like I'm on, those email castings and something will come through and I go, oh, I'd be good for that. Nah. Oh. Delete.
Really?
Yeah. And
wow.
I just have this thing and, like getting my photos done. Like
Oh, yeah, you did. You were like, no.
Not quite there yet, Josh. Thanks. But, it's all that sort of stuff. And I find that I'm a bit frightened of, because it's such a different scene now, I think, with YouTube and all this sort of stuff and self-taping and all that sort of thing, which should make you feel more confident because you're not getting in front of the audition room camera and stuff like that. But I find I'm balking at it more and more. And I think, again, maybe because Sharpie's so good at it that I don't want to compete at all. I don't want to...
Well, let me just fucking just nip that right in the bud straight away. There is no level of competition, and not because he's this or you're that. From my, and I want to say limited perspective, I think I have a pretty good perspective on it. It's two totally different brands.
Oh, completely.
A million miles apart. You guys are never going to cross over.
No.
Your thing is yours. Get rid of that. When you were talking earlier, I thought to myself, geez, I would love to see you do your brand in a character on a YouTube channel. That was yours and it was your jokes, and you could start to build these characters and what have you, because you would smash it. And you've got all the tools through Anthony to get it. I mean, watching what you guys filmed together, like a professional fucking 2.5 minutes of a feature film.
Yeah.
You heard
I've got a girlfriend.
Big one now.
I've actually got a girlfriend who she's in the same boat, and it's so beautiful. She was a Dracula friend. We met there, again 30 years ago, and she lives in Bendigo, so we've been friends for so long. She finished up at Drax and, went off on cruise ships and did all that sort of stuff, and then came back, went back to Bendigo, fell in love, had a 20-year relationship, and now it's ended.
So she's looking for something to do.
So she went, right, I'm going to get back into acting.
Yeah.
And she's mustered up all this confidence and stuff, and she's gone back to a character that she used to do in the early 90s called Beryl. And so she's starting to get her YouTube channel up and happening with this Beryl character. Awesome. Absolutely awesome.
You got to do it, dude.
Oh, but I did. I looked at what she was doing and I went, oh, I could never do that.
No, fuck that off. Do you know what? Here's the thing, right? Like, from someone, and I can say this with 100% confidence because I procrastinated for 20 years. Right? I wasn't someone who was in it, who just didn't want to try this other thing. I was working on a fucking oil and gas ship,
Yeah.
dreaming of being an actor.
Yep.
And my first email went out from a cabin in the middle of the ocean to sign up for an acting class. So
There it is.
and I fucking went to that acting class, and it was a private. And I fucking shit myself in the car. And I, like an asshole, I got there like an hour early and just terrified of going in and saying lines to no one,
Yeah.
just to a teacher, like in a private room. Terrified. What am I terrified of? Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing's going to happen. And one of the most valuable internal monologue things that ever happened to me was auditioning for a student film, right? Bunch of fucking 17-year-olds. And I'm
Who are the worst critiques?
yeah, but I'm dying before this audition, right? I'm sitting in my car again, panicking. And I was like, what can I say to myself to get me over the line? And I'm trying to think of what my dad would tell me. Like my dad, who took a while to come to the party, but at the same time could fucking stand out and say anything to anyone, anywhere, anytime. I don't give a fuck. What's the worst that can happen? Say it. Who gives a shit? That didn't work.
Yeah.
So what I got to was my life is only going to change if I get it.
Yep.
It's going to be exactly the same if I don't. And I went, whoa, that was very freeing for me. And I went straight in there and I got the part.
Oh, that's great.
And they didn't even ask me to do a retake. They went, oh, that's it. That's yours.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So do it.
Do it. Just do it. And I think that's what it is. I need to find...
Because you had a safety net for a long time, right?
And I think that's what I relish in. I relish in the fact of having a safety net. And that's because, of course, because now I have a family and
that changes things. The dynamic
bringing
shifts.
money in, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, like Friday nights I do schnitz and tits, which destroys my soul. I don't eat a schnitzel and show my tits though.
Yeah.
That's not me. I'm completely covered up in costume. Like I go the extra mile. But that's an easy job. That's a job that I can just walk into and play some games and do a host.
You need
That's
to step back into the challenge.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, because you're...
Oh, it's still a challenge, believe me.
No, yeah, but it's a different challenge, right? This is this thing that we touched on just before we got on mic, was to talk about entertainer capacity. You know, I wasn't aware of my stance on the whole thing until I was listening to a podcast and the actor was saying, I'm an entertainer, so I'll do whatever it takes to make sure my audience is entertained, and that's how I roll, and rah. And I thought, ooh, to me that sounds like a tricky line to walk. I would much prefer to just do whatever fucking spills out and hope that people like it, and not give a shit if they do or they don't, you know. And then you're not ever having to. Of course, like you get into the 20th take and you've run out of juice, you've got to fucking fake it. Like
Unless you're Jack Black.
Yeah.
You can just go on and on and on.
on. Yeah. Or you've got some incredible techniques in place, but it gets tough, right? So there is that part of us in the entertainment industry, like, but for the most part, I would rather just not look at it like that. But that can become... Yeah, like I say, I feel like that could become a limiting perspective. Perspective is not the right word, but a kind of biodome of creativity to sit in. It's like, because your choices are being governed by, is this going to be entertaining? And not to say that that's bad or anything, like, because obviously bringing joy to people and seeing them laugh and fucking have a great time is amazing.
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 Yeah.
And that's what I get from people who do, because I'm terrified of being on stage, right? So my hat is like, I have so much respect for people who are on stage because I would fucking melt. But that is
But
one
see,
of the...
if you had that moment of being up there and you made someone feel special in that crowd and joyful and love you'd be hooked.
Totally. Like I mean, I have been on stage and I loved it. And I think that if the film thing goes well and someone said, hey, I really love this film that you're in, we're doing this play and it was really, really down my alley, I would totally do it. But it's not, I'm still terrified of it.
Yeah,
you know?
But see, that's what I love. I love the excitement of live performance. Put me on a film set, I'm bored shitless. I hate waiting around. I hate all that stuff. I hate doing a 10-hour shoot for a 30-second bit. You know, I
love that.
See, it's so funny though, isn't it?
It is,
but
yeah.
I love that instant gratitude of being on stage and having to deal with whatever's thrown at you. If something stuffs up, you got to keep going. It's not those cut, do it again, you know.
So if you were to do your own characters and channel and stuff like that, because I feel like there's a little bit of you that wants to touch on that. Am I right in saying
and look,
that?
I've got a cabaret show that's in the works at the moment that is going to be a touring show, and we've got these kooky characters that it's one of those immersive theatre
so
sort
that's
of cabaret.
your jam.
So that's my jam.
It really is, right?
Yeah,
I think
love it.
that's a question that's been underlying. Sorry, I didn't want to jump in, but I had to just nail that. You actually really fucking love that, and if you can find a way to keep doing that in different capacities, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Fair to say, yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And you know what I've been thinking of recently because, you know, things are going on in the world, voiceover.
Right.
And like we were saying, you know, doing the podcasting and the radio show and stuff like that, I'm finding that that's maybe something that I would like to get back into again is doing voiceover stuff.
But you've got a great voice, so you should. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. But also animation. I'd love to imagine doing an animated film. How
incredible.
Cool would that be?
Yeah, it'd be awesome.
So that would be awesome.
Do you watch Archer?
Love Archer.
Oh my God, I love Archer so much. Erica was just watching it the other day. I was like, this is the best.
It's so mad.
So
it's so funny.
Yeah.
But all those sorts of things. And again, unfortunately, that's where I just went down a bit of a rabbit hole on YouTube the other day, and it was talking about how animation, when it first started, you know, like your Disney animations, it was all unknowns doing the voices for everything, and it was Robin Williams as Aladdin was the first one that, you know, the
really,
big celebrity.
Really, yeah.
And he was so adamant that he did not want that to be the selling point of the film. You know, he's like, don't
do you
even
remember
mention
his
me.
speech when he won an award for it?
No.
I don't remember what he said, but I remember him getting up there and just going, that sort of thing. He was really deflammatory towards it. Like,
Really?
It was just some fucking bullshit. You know, yeah. He didn't like being the guy for just voiceover.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because it's an incredible thing. What he does is so incredible. And the fact that they even redid Aladdin as the live.
Oh, I can't believe Guy Ritchie did that.
He did it.
Yeah. Is it good?
And
No.
no, I'm going to say it's still a spectacular. It's a feast for the eyes. And Will Smith is the genie.
Is he good?
Well, he's different, and that's the only way that you could do it, is that it had to be different because you can't compete with Robin Williams.
He's lost his way a bit, hasn't he, old Will Smith?
Well, I think he just started getting into his love projects, didn't he? And
I don't know,
unfortunately, they
man.
just sort of didn't go his way.
Name me the last good film that he did. 7 pounds.
Oh, 7 pounds. What a great film.
Honestly, one of the best films I've ever seen. And
Yes.
it's one of the...
I'm going to have to watch that again when I get home now.
And just fucking rip your heart out watching it. I remember watching it with my girlfriend back in must have been 2007 when it came out. We didn't know what we were about to watch.
Same.
Right? And fucking our housemate comes in as the credits are rolling and we are on the couch bawling. And they're like, what's happened? What's happened? Like someone had fucking died. I was like, we just watched 7 pounds. Devastated. The fucking mood in the house was so broken.
Yeah. But don't you love that when a movie can do that?
I love it. Erica hates it.
Really?
And I fucking crave it.
Oh, my God. I remember seeing Schindler's List and walking out going, right, okay. But then I was affected for the next 3 days.
Yeah.
Like I did not stop thinking about it. It was just constantally on my mind.
On your mind. I said, I don't know. Oh, there was a photo we took of Layla the other day and she was in an Eagles onesie. I'm an Eagles supporter and all of her family, Carlton.
Oh, Eagles. I thought you meant the band then.
Oh, no, that would be way better. And I'm laying next to her and I've got her on the ground like this, but she's got her fist like this. And I've sent it off to her Carlton supporting family and given her a bit of stick. And he's like, look at her. She looks like she's about to fucking punch you for putting her in this Eagles onesie. Anyways, the conversation went to $1 Million Baby. And I was like, to Erica, I was like, you haven't seen that, have you? And she's like, as if I'm going to fucking watch that. Like, she just knows that it's... God. I was like, it's pretty rough. She's like, how rough? I said, it's probably the most heartbreaking film that I have ever seen. I've seen a lot. That one takes me years to get over.
Yep.
And she's like, why? And I was like, spoiler alert, because she breaks her fucking neck after nearly winning the fucking championship and she's down on her luck. And when Clint Eastwood cries, it fucking breaks people's soul, man. Like,
that's exactly what happens.
Right?
Yes.
And then she rips her own tongue out and she's got bed sores and she gets a quadriplegia and then she fucking loses her legs. Bro, it just goes south.
I know, because
so
it was,
quick.
and it's one of those movies that you just don't think it's going to go that way. It's a sport film.
Yeah, and it's feel good. It's like, underdog, and she's winning.
She's going to do it, yeah.
And they did so well in the marketing of that you never saw that coming.
No, not at all.
I fucking lost it when I saw that so badly but I love that.
Yeah.
I had a guy on the podcast months ago who was talking about how he winds down from whatever busy day or a hectic day or whatever, and he does it with reality TV. And I can't stand fucking reality TV. And I was like, wow, that's fascinating. That would just make me want to slip my wrists. But I will wind down with heavy drama because it will just make all of my problems seem insignificant.
Yes. Completely minuscule.
Yeah, and the super powerful acting, I am just completely consumed. Like films like that are so powerful for me that even if I'm doing a scene where maybe all of my training is not working out, I'll think of a sad scene from a film.
Yeah.
That I have a real strong personal connection with, and that'll get the tears. And it's totally arbitrary. That's how invested I am in those big scenes.
Funny. You know what makes me cry?
Go.
Happy things.
All the time.
I'm a happy crier.
All the time. When I saw Layla come out, man.
Oh, the tears.
Oh, dude.
The tears of joy.
You know, and I had been like a fucking rock the whole way. And like all the nurses were like, Jesus Christ, dude. You're
stoic.
Like, you're there. I was down on the fucking business end going, oh my God, this is amazing, you know? And I caught her and gave her to Mum, and I was like, get that gas pipe, like the whole thing. And then Erica went off to have a little procedure afterwards and patch up. And they were weighing her and what have you. And then I just started to fucking bawl. And they turned around and they were like, oh, dude.
Can you even imagine these days, like for our parents, that they didn't even go in the room? Like, I find it so
It's crazy.
crazy.
Yeah.
That was a thing that they would just hang out in the
And you
waiting
couldn't
room,
go and see
passing
your
the
own baby
cigars.
because she was in this, or he was in this fucking ward
Yeah,
with other
and the fact
kids.
that you just
under fucking fluorescence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You just don't be a part of this.
Yeah, you're not.
Not support, nothing. It's unbelievable. And because I had quite a difficult birth.
Did you?
Yeah. And if I didn't have Sharpie there, wow, what a even more traumatic experience that would have been.
Can I ask why?
3 days, 3-day labour.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. But I think the main thing was we had a wonderful obstetrician who
Pull that one in a little bit.
had a conference that weekend that she was born. So he was away. So
This is like the shit that you see in films that you don't think is going to happen.
So his understudy, call him understudy. So his understudy, his fill-in, was also at that convention. So we had the third
Was she
guide.
prem or was she on time?
No, she was 2 weeks late.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah, 2
Okay.
weeks late. So, but you know, they always give the 2 week before or after sort of thing.
Not anymore, they don't.
Oh.
Man, anyways.
Anyway, so third guy down the track. So never met this guy before. He's very abrupt. He's not even interested in who I am, what my name is, sort of thing. You know, that sort of thing. So
Prick.
we go to the hospital because I'm having contractions, and he basically goes, nah, just go home. But so there was no support, there was no help. So we did calm birth. And
For 3 days.
for 3 days. And actually that was it. That was the incredible thing was I did do calm birth for 3 days and I was fine. Like I was getting through it. But it got to the point on the third day that Sharpie asked me a question and I answered him, but it sounded like my voice was coming from over here somewhere. So I knew that I was delirious and things were
you
going.
on gas?
Wasn't on anything. This was just breathing.
Oh, this is before before you got to the hospital?
No,
at
this
home?
is at the hospital.
Okay.
Yeah.
During like your contractions were like
full
30
on,
seconds apart
full
sort
on,
of thing?
and had a doula. So
Oh, you did? Wow, that's
because
progressive
she came
back
with the
then.
whole
Yeah.
calm birth thing, and we ended up just ringing her because this doctor just sent us home, and I was like, I don't know what to do, and she said it's
They
all
almost
right.
did it to us, yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
And
but so good. What a great job to be a doula, just hanging out. She was there for 48 hours, you know.
Yeah, right.
Incredible.
We had a student actually, and she was incredible.
Mm.
I have to say she did a great job for a 20-year-old or whatever our Layla's birth was her second.
So a midwife student, yeah?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, she'd been with us for the whole thing, like months, like all the checkups and
That's awesome.
yeah, and we said, "Oh, we're going in." It's like 10 at night. She's like, "Oh, I'll fucking be there."
Wow.
Yeah, she was great.
That's so cool.
Sorry, I don't want to cut your story off, but
No,
yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, Erica's contractions sort of started middle of the day. I'd gone out for a job. I think I knew maybe we were about 3 days over. Something was in the works. And came back home and my mum was here and but they were like 8 minutes and then they were like 3. And then they were like 9 and then they were like 4 and then 7 and like 2 and it was all over and we kept on the phone. They're like, nah, stay at home. Then there was like a couple like 4s and 3s and she was getting into pain. So we went in there and she's like, oh, well, fucking, maybe we're going to send you home, but we'll just have a little look and we'll see how it works out. See what your dilation is and did that. And then they're like, oh, well, you're a little bit, okay, we'll just hold out for 5 and we'll see what happens. Maybe it's going to be like 3 a.m, but we'll keep you in. And then it was like, as soon as they had, I don't know, maybe they were checking sort of helped because
sort of,
correct me if I'm wrong. They get in there and they sort of check
feel
shit
around
out,
a bit,
feel around, and then it was like
loosen things up.
presto.
Yeah.
I had like maybe a 15, 20-minute nap on the couch while the student looked after Erica. And then Erica's was on this monitor, and her contractions, it was monitoring the intensity of her contractions. And the Louisa is her name, said that you can see where it spikes at, I'm going to use the wrong numbers, but let's just say it's 70. I feel like it's 70. That's like labor intensity contraction. It shouldn't go that high, and it should go back down to like 7, but she's staying between 20 and 70, let's just say. So she's experiencing labor contractions when she's hours out.
Right.
So they put her on the gas straight away. and because it was so fucking intense, but Layla was not there yet. And then sorry everyone, you're getting my child's
Get the birth story.
Getting the birth story. But so she was on that for maybe 2 hours. And then it was like she's not going to come out, and we don't want to put the suction cup on her, but she's getting jammed and she's getting tired. They put the heart rate monitor on the top of her head.
Yeah.
And it's like, we don't want to put the suction cup on. And Erica, you've got to dig deep. And it's like a fucking addict. They're like, give me that pipe, you know? She's like,
I want it.
holding on to it. But it was so interesting. Like, I've been with Erica for nearly 4 years, and if you're listening, baby, I love you. She's very sweet and very kind and compassionate and soft-spoken, and little things will disrupt her, and she'll be affected by them.
She's an incredible, beautiful soul.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when it came to this, and she was so terrified of the pain and everything, she was just like... And she didn't say anything. She didn't scream. She didn't yell. She didn't fucking curse. Nothing. There was only one moment where she's like over the edge of the bed, and I'm behind her holding, like here, and I'm holding her hand, and she just goes, "Are we almost there?"
And that was it.
And that was it.
Wow.
It was crazy.
That's crazy.
Yeah, and I have
Oh
this
my
great photo of
God.
her just grabbing Layla for the first time, and the only tear that she dropped in the whole thing was just fucking just there.
Oh, gorgeous.
It was crazy. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, and every woman's birth story is different. So they say there's some crazy, crazy birth stories, because I mean they've obviously made a reality TV show about it. So you can see you're getting emotional about it now. Oh, it's beautiful. But it is. It's the biggest thing you're ever going to do in your life, isn't it?
It's nuts. It's fucking... And then, yeah, I mean, Erica had to go off and have this thing, and they wheeled me and Layla down after she got weighed and everything, and I'm just... It's like 5 a.m, and it's just me and Layla.
True love.
Just like...
Yeah.
I'm like, am I doing it right?
Yeah.
You know, like...
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy. And that's the thing, like you go through this, for a woman, you go through this ordeal. And like I said, mine was quite traumatic. But afterwards, it's gone. You know,
Rather
the
than amnesia
whole thing's
sets in,
gone.
yeah.
That's gone. You can't remember what the cramping labor pains were. You can't even imagine what it was. You can't remember that pain at all. I remember the only thing that I was worried about was that I would never ride a bike again. So I just don't think that's going to happen. And
God, it's a trip.
I know. And again, being later in life, a mother later in life.
Well, I think there's only a year between us in that, like Erica's 38, you were 40?
39, yeah.
That's only a year between us. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it's just, they told us no chance.
Really?
Yeah, you've got maybe an 8% chance. Don't get your hopes up.
I know. We were told, your child's going to have Down syndrome. It's like, really?
Fucking pricks. Yeah.
It's just like, but if this was my third child,
you're good to go.
it'd be no worries,
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
it's
you
your
tried and
first. Yeah.
tested.
So, yeah.
Assholes.
Craziness. But that was the thing, I think, being later in life and it being what it was, I didn't go back for seconds.
Yeah, we had no plans for seconds. We still don't, thank God.
Yeah. But,
Yeah,
you might think differently. Yeah.
I don't think so. I thought about this the other day and I'm just amazed and in love and this is great. But world doesn't need another child. I don't need to take away from my financial capacity to look after Layla with another because I desperately need another child because that's what it is. The world doesn't need a child. You need another child.
This is where we were at too. We were not even thinking of having children because of the whole population crisis in the world. We're very big animal lovers and we're very big animal conservationists.
Yeah.
I've seen your work today. Oh my God, so cool.
Which?
Ant was doing some of the photos for your stuff.
Right.
Beautiful. So excited. So we were even we were at that stage where we'll just get ourselves tested to see if we are fertile because we don't think we are.
We were the same.
Yeah.
And if it wasn't going to happen, then we weren't going to push the point because the world doesn't need another child.
Yeah, exactly.
And we'll put our energies into something else.
Yeah, and we were thinking of, fostering or doing that if we had that need. But now Lucy's 10 and she's like, I wish I had a brother or a sister. I really wish I had someone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And we're like, but that's why you have dog.
Jake?
That's why Jakey's there because he's your brother and the cat's the sister. So you don't have human siblings, but you have these beautiful fur siblings. But
there's a way to convey
that's when you start.
Eventually.
That's when it starts pulling at the heartstrings where you go, oh my God. And with the idea of a pandemic and all that sort of stuff, I said to Sharpie, what if something happens to us? What's going to happen to Lucy? That's where you start going, oh my God. I don't want
One's okay. One's good. One's good.
One's good.
And look, I'm not at the 10-year mark, obviously. So I don't know. I'm very lucky to have Erica's sister and her husband who have 2 kids and they're just down the road and they're amazing. But I come home or wake up in the morning and we put Layla in bed with us and we hang out and what have you. And I'm like,
it's a great little tribe.
This is great little tribe, right? The 3 of us. It's my girls, me and my girls. This is great. I'm content. I'm done. I reckon we could call it there.
I just have to say one thing.
Go.
You know who you look like? I've finally figured it out. Ray Fiennes.
I knew you were going to say that.
Do you get that a lot?
All the time.
Really?
Just talking about it today. I was just about to say Ray Fiennes.
It was just a look that you did and I went, oh, there it is.
I'm going to have to play this to the guy that I was trying to convince of it today because he was like, oh, yeah, maybe. I was like, I get it all the fucking time. There's even a casting director here in Melbourne who's like, Rafe.
That is so
young Rafe.
Funny.
He's like, he sends me a photo of old Rafe. I'm like, dude, he's bald and old and a little fat. Get the fuck out of here.
Not Voldemort.
This is like fucking
English patient.
That's the one. English patient Rafe. Yeah. I love your work. It's so good to have you on. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. This has been a blast. Thank you so much.
It really has. Thanks so much for coming down.
Pleasure.
Bye-bye.